All right, slide 18 of intervals. So, a little bit more about writing intervals below a given note. Let's get a little more practice in here because I think we need it. So, in on slide number 18, we are looking at Dona Nobis Pacem, and we are asked to add the proper designation, meaning major, minor, or perfect, to indicate the precise size of each interval. All right, so Dona Nobis Pacem. The first few answers are given for us. But let's go through them. Let's go through the process of how to arrive at these correct answers, so that you can do the rest of them successfully. So let's look at the first two notes of Dona Nobis Pacem, right? So the first two notes are F and C, right? F and C. And we are told that that gives us a perfect fourth. Good. How so, though? How did they arrive at that answer? All right, well, we can follow, I guess, kind of a two-step process here to figure this out. So first off, step one, figure out what the two pitches are. So the first pitch is F, the second pitch is C. All right. Now, the second step is to take the lower pitch and pretend it's the tonic of a major scale. So the lower pitch, in this case, out of F and C, is C. Okay? And if I pretend that C is the tonic of a major scale, what major scale is it the tonic of? The C major scale. Then you can think about, go ahead and play that scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Right? So remember, C major, no sharps or flats. Then go, all right, so what is the higher note? What scale degree is the higher note out of F and C in the C major scale? Well, go C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a perfect fourth. Okay? Let's do the next one. We have, well, first off, step one, figure out the two pitches. What are they? We have C and A in this case. They're telling us it's a major six, but how did they arrive at that answer? Well, let's do the same process as the first one we did. So a major sixth. Well, okay, so the lower note out of A and C is going to be C, of course, and so let's build our major scale based on that lower note. Again, it's your C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And so what is A? What scale degree is A, our higher note, in the C major scale? Well, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's the sixth. And so it's a major sixth, right? Because in the C major scale, A is a major sixth above C. All right, let's do another one. Let's do the very next one. So we are told that the next one is a major second. How did they arrive at this answer? Well, let's look at the two pitches. What are the two pitches we're looking at here? We're looking at A and G. Okay, so next step, let's take the lower of the two, which is G, and pretend it's a major scale. So in a G major scale, if you remember your circle of fifths, G major has one sharp, and that is F sharp. So we'll go G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. All right, and so let's ask ourselves, what is A in the G major scale, right? It is, or what scale degree is A in the G major scale? It's the second degree, right? G, A, right, is the second degree. So that's going to be our major second. All right, so the next one is a fifth, and it's going to be a perfect fifth, because if it's a fourth or a fifth, it's going to be perfect in this example. Let's look at the next example. This will be the last one we do here. All right, so we are told it's a seventh, but we don't know if it's a major seventh or a minor seventh. Okay, so that's what we have to determine here. So how do we do this? Well, first off, let's take, what are the two pitches we're dealing with? Well, they are C and B flat. All right, why is it B flat? Well, if you haven't noticed, look at the key signature for Dona Nobis Pacem. It's B flat, right? This is in the key of F. But let's take our same process as before. So let's pretend the lower note is the tonic of a major scale. Our lower note in this case, out of B flat and C, is C. And so what is the scale built on C? Just like we did before, it's the C major scale. No sharps or flats in that, right? So what is, in the C major scale, what is the seventh scale degree? Well, it's B, right? And from what we learned about major scales, the seventh degree of the major scale is a major seventh, right? Now, in this case, in our example here that we're looking at, our higher note is B flat, right? So think about this. What we're dealing with is a lowered, is our seventh lowered by a half step, right? And if we lower a major interval by a half step, we get a minor interval, right? So the answer here of C to B flat, is it major or minor? Well, it's minor, right? So that's how we can do all of these, actually. Okay, so again, if you need any help on this, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you. I know some of the stuff can be, with intervals, can be a little complicated at first. Once you get it though, it's pretty quick. Okay, moving on to slide 19. So this is our last topic for intervals in this chapter here. So let's talk about the one more kind of interval. And this interval is called the augmented fourth or the diminished fifth. So up to now, we have a specific interval name for all of the relationships but one, right? What are all the other relationships of intervals we've talked about? We've talked about major intervals, we talked about minor intervals, we talked about perfect intervals. But now we're going to talk about the augmented fourth and diminished fifth intervals. And these, this kind of interval lies between the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth, right? So let's actually, well, how about this? Go ahead and play a fifth. How about start? So go middle C, and then what's a fifth above middle C? Well, that's G, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's G. So, right, and then play a fourth after that. So then C to F, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Save your fifth and your fourth. But there's something in between, right? There's one black key in between. And that is where the augmented fourth and diminished fifth interval lies. Let's talk more about this on the next slide, slide number 20. So, depending on its notation, this interval is called either an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. Play the perfect fourth again above C, right? So C to F is a perfect fourth, right? Now, if we make this fourth larger, that is, if we augment it by a half step, we might go C to F sharp, right? We'll raise the F sharp by a half step, right? And so that's where we get the augmented fourth. Okay, now let's think about it a different way. We can go, let's take our a perfect fifth above C, like we did before, which is G, right? Play that interval, C and G. Now, if we lower the high note by a half step, we shall get, or that is to say, if we diminish it by a half step, we will get a G flat, and we can call that a diminished fifth. Notice that the augmented fourth and the diminished fifth are played by the same exact keys and sound the exact same. So really, whether or not we call it augmented or diminished depends on how it's notated. If it's C to F sharp, that's augmented. If it's C to G flat, we're going to call that a diminished fifth. All right. Last bit of business here. So this interval, the augmented fourth or diminished fifth, it divides the octave into two equal parts. All right, so what do we mean by that? Well, think about the octave, right? We have, remember in a diatonic scale, we have 8 different pitch letters, right? So I'm like C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Now, if we were to break that down though into half steps, we would find that we have 12 equal half steps, right? We'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then back to 1 here. So this particular interval divides the octave into two equal parts if we're thinking about it in terms of those 12 equal half steps of which the octave is made. All right.